All right, let's call the October 20th meeting of the Foley School Board to order. All members, with the exception of Nathan Anderson, our president and accountant for, he is at the girls' tennis tournament this week. So, best of luck to that team. We'll start with Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we have a special guest, as always, reading our mission statement, so let it go.
All right. The mission of Foley Public Schools is to bring together students, parents, staff, and community to provide a quality education with an emphasis on developing the full potential of the individual.
Very nice, very nice. All right, we're going to have our, let's see here, commended scholar by the National Merit Corporation. Open Forum for Citizens is next. Excuse me, for those of us up here. Okay, now we'll do the approval of agenda, please. The agenda in front of you was sent out last week. So take a motion to approve in a second, please. Motion by Pam, second by Wayne. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next will be the approval of routine business items. This is our consent agenda, board bills, and meeting minutes, all those good sorts of things. When you're ready for that, I will happily take a motion to approve that.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Okay. We have a motion to approve the consent agenda from Wayne Wilson. Any second? And the fundraising applications are part of this, correct? Yeah. So that does include the fundraising applications and everything, which are pretty routine, I guess, so yeah. Second for the consent agenda? Well, I guess I will second the approval of the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? All right, well, all in favor of approving the consent agenda, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? We're just not very chatty today. Next, we'll move on to our resolution for accepting gifts. This month we got a bunch of gifts. And again, I always say this, and I genuinely mean it. This is a very generous community, very appreciated by the school district and the students and teachers and the staff and everyone that this affects. So I always want to say thank you, genuinely thank you. So this month, as you see, we have the Foley American Legion donated 2 cases of scrambled eggs for the Child Nutrition Program. The Falcon Swim and Dive Team donated $2,807.78 stop clocks for the pool. So with their efforts, that was great. New Ulm Area Lion Club donated $250 to the second grade reading. Kim Hansmeyer donated soup school supplies to the public schools. Dan Posthumus, I think I know that name, donated school supplies to Foley Public Schools. And Heron Holmes donated prizes for the Foley Elementary School Fitness Fest to the elementary school. So I will happily take a motion to accept these gifts to the district. Motion by Pam.
Second.
I'll give it to Alyssa. Second to Alyssa. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Fantastic. All right, now we'll get to some meatier stuff. Now we have our insurance RFP item. Discussion and action. Who would like to take this one away? You want to come up or you want an introduction?
Sure. Aaron Fosberg is going to come up and talk to us a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, you can just, if you want to sit over there at the table too, that's fine. It's all good.
Good afternoon, everybody. So you've, Aaron Casper, as Dan mentioned, with National Insurance Services. Just wanted to kind of walk through, just kind of high level, the information you received in the board packet, just showing that we performed our statutory required Health Insurance Transparency Act bid for our medical insurance. So real quick, we received 5 different proposals, including from our incumbent carrier, Health Partners, 3 of which responded with a best and final response. So the responses ranged anywhere from a 10.8% increase to a 26.2% increase. It was pretty easy for us. We're recommending that we remain with our incumbent carrier, Health Partners, at the 10.8% increase, which also includes a not to exceed 14% rate cap. And I've told many people this, I know Sharon and Dan have heard me say this before, a few years ago, a 14% rate cap would seem high. The market has changed in the last 24 to 30 months, significantly impacted by stop loss increases in premiums, not only here in the Minnesota marketplace, but also nationally, due to higher number of high-cost claimants and just the total cost or severity of those claimants across the board. We've had some of those here as well. So we're really kind of seeing an uptick in addition to an increased inflation or medical trend relative to our medical insurance. So the 10.8% increase, although it seems like a lot, is actually one of the lower increases that we've seen for a lot of our clients here in the K-12 marketplace. We personally, or our office works with a little over a third of Minnesota K-12 school districts and various funding mechanisms, whether we're fully insured like we are here or self-insured standing in a pool, whether it be through PEAP, the Public Employees Insurance Program, or one of the Minnesota Healthcare Consortium pools. So overall, rates are up, inflation is up. In addition to our plans, we just had one slight IRS indexing from our 3,300 plan to bump up to 3,400. We talked that through with our representative insurance committee. Additionally, we are going to be offering, effective 1/1/26, a much higher deductible plan, an $8,000 deductible plan, to go ahead and help us offset and ensure that we are meeting the ACA Affordable Care Act minimum value plan for affordability down here at the district. So we're working with district administration to go ahead and roll that out. But other than that, the 2 plans that we have today are not changing, with the exception of the IRS indexing of the deductible, which is an IRS mandate to maintain our benefit structure. So with that, I guess what I would say is if anybody has any questions or comments, I would be happy to entertain those.
All right, team.
I just want to say thank you for the direction that the committee got from Aaron. He's always been very straightforward. And the person in our district office, Ms. Leggett, they have to sign up quite soon. That's all gone out to our staff. But she has explained things to people and is a real benefit to us. This is not a fun job. It takes a long time to get through all the steps and make sure you dot the I's and the T's. And we're very fortunate to have people that understand so well and look out for our best interest.
Agreed. I look at this, I basically highly put this, so I appreciate when people are experts. Any other questions or comments for Mr. Casper tonight? Or Ms. Leggett, I guess, someone should hear. All right, well then I guess, barring nothing else, thank you.
Thank you.
And I will take a motion and a second to approve. Motion by Pam.
Second.
Second by Stephanie. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, everyone. Thank you again.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you.
All right, well, next up, we have our friends from Site Logic with us tonight. why don't you come on over, introduce yourselves to the crowd, and, well, I guess you're just on your own, huh?
Gene's gonna come.
Oh, you Gene, yeah. Come on. I know Gene's kind of quiet.
Yeah.
Well, let's introduce yourselves to the
Sure.
crowd and then take it away from there.
Well, I'm Andy Fields. I work for a company called SetLogic, and we are currently working on a 2-year project to support and implement new HVAC in your building. And so tonight, the agenda that we have for you is we want to review 4 things. So we want to provide an update on the first year of construction, which is going very well. And then we also want to talk about year 2 in construction and make sure that there's a solid game plan to move forward. And talking to Superintendent Kosumis, there's a thought to think about what would need to happen to add back some scope that was taken out. There's some equipment that you have purchased, and so we want to come back and have some conversations about how the project looks. We're prepared to talk about some dollars that we saved through value engineering and look at the budgets that others have drafted up for you that's current. And then talk through some of those funding options, and then we're prepared to answer any questions that you might have. So I think I'll let Gene talk through the construction project to date, what we've accomplished this year, and some things, some exciting news that are coming up here this week.
Sure, thank you. Again, my name is Gene Solmy. I'm project manager for the project here at Foley. And what I want to do is start off, just like you said, talking about what we've completed so far. So the list kind of explains it. We have 5 air handlers here that feed the auditorium, school store, the auto classrooms, the locker rooms and offices, the wrestling rooms, as well as the woodworking room. Those are complete, started up running right now, with a couple of things that there's a punch list that we still got to get through, but they're running and they're operational. Current work that we're doing right now is what's called the pool dehumidification unit, and that is going to be started up on the 24th. That feeds the pool, it's the air handler that feeds the pool, and it's a very complex unit, and it took a long time to get it in. Delivery date was postponed by several months, and we finally got it, we put it in, and then also air handling unit 22 is a field house air handler that's being worked on right now, and they're in the field house actually working this week to complete the ductwork in there, and we'll be starting that up on the 24th as well. After that, we'll have some balancing, so we go in and rebalance the air side, make sure that each individual register has the right amount of air. It's called air side balancing, and then we'll also have some wet side balancing, and that is simple enough to say that, it's the pumps and the water that runs through the system. We'll have some of that, but that'll be all completed, the water side will be all completed to finish the entire project. Other things that we worked on was try to get ahead of the game a little bit, was some chilled water piping is up on the roof. You probably haven't seen it, maybe some of you have seen some pictures, but it's up on the roof, and we're going to try to get some of that insulated this winter yet, too. So these air handlers, and I'm not going to list through, you guys can read through them, but all of these air handlers are what we're going to be working on next summer. We're going to try to get in and do as much work ahead of time. So like when the boilers go down, we'll go in there and start demolition in the penthouses. That affects these ones here. And then we'll complete the chilled water and piping as well that goes to each one of the penthouses that's currently run on the roof. We'll complete them right into the penthouses as well. And you can see all those areas, just quickly read through, and you can see all the areas affected.
So, just looking back, one of the things that was a disappointment to, I know, the school board and the district and to SiteLogic as well, is the bids came back higher than anticipated. In the course of making a decision to move forward, there were some items that were left out of the scope at the time to make the budget work. And so those items you can see are listed above. And it's estimated to add those back into scope that there's a range of approximately $375,000 to $500,000 they would be needed to add back to do the work. You own the equipment, you're storing the equipment, and so we wanted to make sure that you were able to know the different ways that that could still be paid for and be part of the scope. Tonight, clearly that's a board decision as far as how you want to move forward. And so we started a preliminary kind of thought process as to things that could be considered if this is something that you want to add back and still have included in the scope for next year.
What was the dollar amount to add back, 380,000?
Yeah, it's approximately, we're thinking between 375,000 and 500,000. And yeah.
I'm just going to remind the board that no one is asking you to vote on this tonight. We're just providing information, so when Andy talks about it's your decision, it is your decision, but we want to give you preliminary information of what has been updated at this point to be considered in a future date.
So when we ran the bids out, and this graph doesn't do justice because I'm sure you can't see it very well, but by spacing the construction over 2 years rather than 1 year, we were able to get some deductions from the original cost from the contractors involved in the bid document, which was a third alternate. And so those alternates from mechanicals to electrical to balancing and commissioning, those items at the time that were rebid were in that $330,000 to $340,000. We've gone back to them to ask what would it cost to do it. It wasn't selected then, but moving forward now, and those numbers have escalated. We've seen an escalation, by no surprise, in construction costs. And so that's how we came up with the range that we anticipate. We're still waiting for one of the contractors to respond, the mechanical contractor, but we anticipate the range to complete this work is between $375,000 to $500,000. We'll have more exact numbers. We anticipate by the end of the week. Any questions on that scope? I know that you're already familiar with it. So we wanted to just do a dive into things that the board could consider. This is right now your construction budget to date. You've spent approximately $8 million on the project, and you have about $6.5 million left going into next year to pay for the remaining parts of the project. So you're on track. One of the things that you tasked, not me with, but Gene with, is to see if there's any value engineering that could be done. And Gene has found about $70,000 from the project that can be added back into contingency. So the board made the decision to spend down the contingency to do more of the project, and in doing so, the board tasked SiteLogic to seek out any value engineering that doesn't compromise the project, but looks for ways that we could provide some cost savings working with your contractors. So we feel good about that. The other thing I wanted to allow the board to know or remind is that there was about $275,000 that Ellers, your municipal advisors, thought that you would be able, from a conservative standpoint, to accrue in construction interest. We've asked Ellers, and I think that they responded back to Dan with a more updated amount. That amount has increased. I'm not sure exactly, Dan, what that is, but I think it's significant in the scheme of, if it was $275,000, it's significant. It's not going to double, but it's a significant amount that we believe will be there. So that could be added towards this project as well, or added back to contingency. So that is good news also. So I wanted to provide the construction budget update. And as it relates to the construction budget update, Gene runs regular meetings with your business manager just to make sure that Foley and SiteLogic are staying informed as we help manage all the receivable payables with the contractors you're working with. So as it relates to LTFM, IAQ large projects, which is what your project is, there are a couple of ways to fund it. Clearly, you could use general fund, unassigned, day-to-day operations. That's really complicated. Districts just don't have those dollars to fund projects. You could use your regular LTFM to fund those projects. On average, school districts get $380 per pupil for your long-term facility maintenance, and that's to maintain things on a day-to-day basis. And again, districts simply don't have the funds to come up with $275 or $375 to $500,000 using their LTFM. It's just there isn't enough money to do that. And so the other way that school board, similar to how you funded this project originally, is you have the ability to use board authority under IAQ to fund the remaining balance of the project since it's still under IAQ authority. So those are the 3 buckets. The other 2 buckets, again, that I just wanted to bring up, will continue to value engineer. I don't think I can safely say that we can value engineer our way to $375,000, but we'll continue to value engineer with the goal to make sure that you have enough contingency that if something goes on next year in the construction cycle, that there are funds in order to take care of a change order that the district wants or that wasn't anticipated. And then, of course, you have other information from your construction interest earnings that you could look at as well that could offset any other costs that you have. In your board packet or handed out today, we asked others to provide some information as far as what your debt structure is today. You'll see it on a sheet that you were handed that just has, Foley Public School District number 51 and some information. If you were to sell bonds, the item that is in turquoise represents what that 1 year dollar amount would be to pay for the rest of this project. And that's estimated at a high amount at $500,000. So clearly that number could go down when we find out what those numbers are. The other important part of this information is that the Foley School District has a significant debt drop after 2027. And I partner with a number of districts across the state. Your financial situation, while times are hard and we can't deny that, you've done an incredible job with your finances. It's one thing for somebody like me to say it, but the graph here, and I apologize that I don't have a visual for you, but it really shows that the district has been good stewards of the tax dollars that the community has provided because you have a significant debt drop. And what this says is that after 27, Ellers has estimated that with no increase to community taxes, keeping it tax neutral, there's an opportunity of improvement, whether it's operational or bonds to improve your facility at a tax neutral standpoint for about $20 million. So again, most districts are in the position that Foley is in. I think you guys should feel really good about what you've done to put yourself in that position. So I just wanted to provide that information. Should the board in future conversations, I think, want to look at this as an option to pay for the remaining work, clearly you're going to want to work with your municipal advisors and others and have conversation as a board. The second page on this would be the 1 year impact if you were to go out and do another board authority bond to pay for the remainder of the work. So you'll see by residential, by commercial, and so forth. And again, the dollar amount that you see aligned with the home value prices would be an annual amount. It's not a monthly amount for 1 year. Correct. So it would be what they call in the LTFM business a pay-as-you-go bond. The last thing I want to say before we open ourselves up to any questions that you might have, I know that there's some consternation in our previous couple meetings about the pathway to move forward. We're part of several projects across the state. At the time that your board decided to do this project, we looked at the data, and while we're not happy with the outcomes of the bids, a project was certainly warranted given our findings. And I think it's going to be something that benefits your school district. But I also would say that if we were coming forward today in this bid market, we would be looking at a 10 to 15% increase over what you got last year. And so I think we got ahead of the tariffs. We got ahead of a lot of the other things that are impacting districts in their current bids. Again, it doesn't make me feel better that we didn't get the bids that we wanted to last year, but I just wanted to share that piece of information. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Well, first of all, I kind of wish I should get a recording of you and put it on a loop that we've done a good good job being stewards, and it's nice to hear that compliment. But in all seriousness, I want to say thank you for all your hard work, and I know, like you said, there's been some road bumps and disappointments, but I appreciate both of you very much, working so hard to get us the best of everything we can get. Mr. Posthumus, they said that you might know a little bit about that interest. Do you have anything, just ballpark, we wouldn't hold it to you or swear an oath or anything on it today, but anything you could share?
I was told I received an email that I haven't looked at.
Okay, I was just curious.
Andy told me that when I walked in here,
Oh, okay.
I've been in the meeting since 4, so.
No worries.
I haven't seen the email.
All right, I was just curious.
And just from what he told me, it's positive, but not, it doesn't make up for this.
No, well, no.
But it's better than, because as I understand it, the elders had predicted 325, $275,000. And Gene has found another, that contingency has gone up from a very small amount that you had to start with. Went up another 70,000. And so we've been able to make that positive happen. I think you saw the number earlier, Andy, I said you think it was like 50,000.
Yeah, I think it was about 50,000.
So, I mean, those are all positives towards helping.
So, would it be safe to say that would be like about halfway to that 375, 500,000 you were talking, you mentioned earlier, like we're about halfway there?
No, the 275,000 that you had initially, conservative amounts from your municipal advisor was built into the project.
Okay, that's what I
So
didn't
the
understand.
additional amount of, I think, approximately 50,000 would go towards whether you wanted to rebuild your contingency or put it towards offsetting any cost to install the 3 units that didn't make it into the project.
That's the part I didn't understand, so that's why I needed the clarification, thank you.
Some further clarification, if I may, is, so when we went and left, when I left this board meeting last time, we had $20,000, $21,000 in contingency. Found about $70,000, but we have had about $60,000, $50,000 to $60,000 in change order that we've had so far this year. So right now we're sitting at, I think, what was it,
47,000.
In contingency?
Yes.
which is a very minimal amount.
Yes.
It's very
It is.
scary to me.
Okay, that's where I was trying to figure.
Generally, you put in 5%?
Yeah, 5% of the total construction cost, wouldn't include our fee to construct this house. So that's what we try to do.
Other questions?
Well, I just have a comment, like, the tax impact, just to run numbers here, like, so if we have a $350,000 home, it's gonna cost you $6 a month. Because sometimes people are like, how much are my taxes going up?
For one.
Yeah, right, like $6 a month for the year.
But then there was the initial push for how much they paid originally. This is in addition.
It's gonna cost you a cup of coffee.
Well, a good cup of coffee.
Right.
Uh,
A month.
At the same time, again, go back to that stewardship mention. I always think of stewardship and stuff, and we are all very aware of the Benton County increases lately, government center, airports, things of that nature. So this is not something we would, cup of coffee, but it's not something we don't take seriously. We would not have a work session to discuss it very thoroughly before making any kind of decision. So I do want to reassure everyone of that thing. It sounds this one way, but we also are very much aware of what everyone has going on in their tax base beyond the school.
Yeah, I wasn't being
No.
disrespectful with the cup of coffee, but I think when it comes to construction, like if we're already in it, it's gonna cost us less. Like, if we stop and then assume things are gonna be better or less expensive, or we're gonna get a contract, it's not gonna happen. Like, if we're already in it, let's just, in my opinion, let's do it.
I think this is something that we need to discuss at workshop.
It is,
Later, at a later time, once we have all the information in front of us.
Maybe we should look at trying to schedule a work session on this. Do we want to do that maybe now in November?
We'll just wait until after the meeting and decide.
Yeah, so let's talk about that.
We're just giving some perspective.
Yeah.
Absolutely, but yeah, I agree that, this is something we really work session out and figure out. Yeah.
Are we able to get this information sent to us too?
Yes.
I have it, since we don't have that yet.
I was just gonna say that, once I had an opportunity to talk to others and see what the bill number is and get some ideas from them as to when they could come out and present to the board for a work session, I think that would be very beneficial to you and to me, and be able to get everything kind of figured out as to how we want to move forward.
I mean, I know we've all been kind of thinking in the back of our heads, if we can just get to after 27 with that tax burden drop off, then we have tax neutral opportunities where people would not see an increase in taxes for us to do things. And I think we're all thinking that in the back of our minds. So, but before you know it, those days are going to be here. So if we're going to do any voter approved referendums or anything, we need to, and that's why we have those in the goals and stuff that, so, but, once again, that chart that we all have, we've seen it before, we know. We can get there, we have room to maneuver, and, all these cuts we've made, at the very least, we could potentially stop and things like that. And so, we have a light at the end of our tunnel. We've got good work going on to get us there. I'm very appreciative of all that, and just have to keep going, everyone.
I'd like to finish up with just something positive. I think that you guys should know that, we have SCR and BCI here, as well as True Industries and JCI. And I want to tell you, this is a team. They are really working and talking to each other. Before we even approach them, we've already talked to each other. They work extremely well. I found they work extremely well with not only SiteLogic, but with the owner as well. We run into problems, just like any project in new construction or old construction or renovation. Always run into problems. It's part of construction. They get in there, they help us find the solution at a reasonable cost and rate, for a change order. And when we've had problems, even the equipment that we have at the pool air handler, SBL, we worked with SBL very intently to make sure that they had a temporary unit field feeder, and SBL picked up the cost for that completely because the contractor, the supplier for the equipment, was late. So they're picking up, and it's just been a really good team, and that's what I wanted to share with everybody here, that you've got a great team here. And it's a joy working with these guys. Even you got new team members here, it's really great to work with them, and I appreciate that.
And I'll say, I think, at least at our end, communication seems to have been really good too. If there's any questions, people have been able to get answers, and Mr. Posthumus has had updates, I think, every week, in his board updates, and it really feels like, even if it's not the best news, it feels like there's still progress being made, like no one is just kind of, whoa, like that, And that also feels really good, at least for me. So, again, I want to say thank you.
The bond issue here, the 20 million, I thought it was 14 point some originally. How did it get?
This would be if you would be able to have $20 million to put forth to future projects with cash neutral with tax neutral through
The blue is,
The blue would
this,
be interesting.
this is 20.
Yeah, that's when the drop off.
That would be the $20 million.
This has nothing to do with the project. then.
No, that's just a projection.
Except we need more money to finish the project the way it was initially.
that would be just in the future.
That's that point we're trying to get where we would have space and it wouldn't have a negative impact on people's taxes. Which is, again, one of our goals. It's just who we are. Anything else for our friends from Site Logic?
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, James.
Thank you.
All right. Well, today we have some staff handbook updates. Mr. I'll let you take it away.
Very good. Thank you very much. We have some new updates that we want to add to the staff handbook. And since the handbook was approved, we want to make sure that those get approved by the board as well.
Do we need to approve this tonight? You can just have discussion on here. Or is it just,
We can just have it.
okay, I just didn't know if one of us had a vote.
So the first one for your consideration would be employee position changes and the impact on their benefits. So if an employee chooses to go to a different role in the district, they oftentimes go from one union to the next. And this just kind of explains what happens to their benefits if they get hired in a new position. For instance, if they go from an EA to custodian, there's different roles. If they go from an EA to a secretary, there's different benefits. So this explains what would happen and have it in the handbook for everyone to see right off, and everyone would understand. Hopefully, everyone would understand it. I can't guarantee everyone will understand everything, but that's the goal of this. Basically, if they change roles, they would have their current benefits prorated to the new value, so that they don't lose all of their benefits, but it would be adjusted. And then they have an option to go with the new benefits. They'd be able to change their insurance and things like that at that time. Pretty much said it. We also have one regarding a hybrid or dual role position. So for instance, if a person worked as an EA and a van driver, it's two different amounts, and then also sometimes if somebody worked as a EA and custodian or EA, and whatever the different roles are, we would take their benefits and combine them, so it's not just, if they're working half-time at this and half-time at that, they only get a half of each, combine their benefits so that they can get full benefit. So, talks about this more of the specifics.
Just for anyone who might be watching later or in our audience, could you explain how and why these are being added to the handbook now?
Well, we got the handbook approved in the fall. That was something that we wanted to move forward with. And then also it's been brought up in discussions. It's been brought up as an item in discussion for negotiations.
Oh, okay. All right.
And we wanted to clarify it so that things are more fully understood for people, maybe before they take on a new role or apply for it or so.
So this isn't just for like, okay, so sometimes I know like a teacher will teach and then they'll also drive the van later. So their benefits won't change that much from that, like it's.
Probably not
it's
very
maybe-
much, but they might get, do they have benefits as a van driver?
Yeah, they'll
So there'll
receive
be some,
like some leave time if they're
Okay.
unfriended.
Okay,
It's more if you were, it's okay.
like if you work a part-time position, another part-time
Yes.
position, okay.
We're wanting to give you the benefit of being a full.
A full person.
Yeah.
Okay, or a full-time staff.
Yeah.
So yeah, the goal is to make things easier for you.
I mean,
Yeah.
in most employment age or places, if you work part-time in one spot and part-time in another spot, you are considered a full and you should get full-time benefits.
So that's, yeah, you get it.
We just want it more
Make sure
clearly
it's
stated.
fair, yeah.
Yeah. Makes it easier, especially if you have like new administrators coming in, right? Or new employees, but yeah, everyone on the same page. All right. Well, thank you. Next up, we have a discussion on e-learning days for 25-26 school year.
So I would recommend that the school board allow us to continue with e-learning days. That's something that has to be decided each year. I recommend that we do have that option. The state allows school board or school districts to use up to 5 per year for a snow day. It can only be used for snow days. They can't be used for other ideas or other issues for being out of school. But it really is a good option for students and for everyone to be able to try to maintain as much as possible the education continuing on. And then it also makes things a little nicer for the end of the year. People say, well, just add it on to the end of the year. The problem is if you have a number of days that you have to add on, that becomes challenging for people's summers, but also the education that is happening. It's nice that teachers, especially at the high school level, teachers can interact with students during that day and help them then, because by June 2nd, they're on to something else and they're not as engaged. And it's not a perfect solution. Having school in person and being able to be at school, that's better, but weather isn't always permitted, so I would recommend we continue to allow up to 5 days.
I will say that I think this has been a great tool for us. In the past couple of years now, have this option. And whether it's, I think it's really given us more latitude of feeling better about, okay, well, if we can't come to school, or not pushing the envelope on safety. So I love it personally.
For clarification with the e-learning days, how does it, and Joel, you might know an answer to this, because I have a high school, the hands-on classes like welding and woodworking, like how do they?
Well, even hands-on classes have lessons and safety things they have to talk about. So they assign those sorts of things, or they might have an instructional video. But like Mr. Postumus was saying, we lose the days in second trimester and get them back in third trimester. So it's just completely disjointed at the high school level. It's not like the old year-long system where you just bump them on the end. We have classes that end at the end of the second trimester and they lost 2 or 3 days. Well, now you added them on the third trimester. Well, if I had this amount of material to cover, now I got to come up with 3 more days. Are those 3 days really as functional as they would have been during the year? So that's.
So does this need to be an action too?
Or is this just like, you have our blessing and
I think it's been a good discussion. We just have to inform the board, inform parents that we're
Do
continuing.
we have a certain amount of snow days that the school gets to begin with? Like, do you get any snow days? Like,
so
one?
you get the first one held harmless, and then you have the 5 e-learning, and then is it one more after that, or that's it?
I would have to,
I think it's 2.
I know the first one is held, I know, and then I think there's a second one maybe on the end which will do something, but I'm not 100% sure, because I don't think we've gotten that far.
I just look at sometimes if it's bad weather outside, keep them home, like I am a true believer of that. But I also think like sometimes the e-learning days, I don't think a lot of kids get a lot out of that. So that's my concern, is I do not think that kids get as much as they should out of e-learning days.
it's a challenge,
Yep.
absolutely.
And it has to be very dedicated, both staff and and families to do that. So to me, it's hard to do that. But
What are they gaining out of adding days at the end of the year, like?
unless they switch it, where you add days to that trimester and have to move things around a little bit versus adding it to the end of the year. So that, I mean, just, that's my only concern is I do not feel that kids get what they need out of the learning days.
You know,
Or as what they would get in the classroom.
I think like everything else, depends on the students, we aim down the middle. Some students do great, doing homework, e-school, online school, some students don't. Some students do great in class, and some students, they're like, oh, I can do this by myself. But, we try to aim down the middle, and best we can. I think it's one of those cases where it's better than nothing, which has been what it has been, if there's a snow day. What I've liked about it is usually teachers are like, oh, we might be gone tomorrow, so they send packets and stuff, right? They get it all, in my experience, it's usually like, here's your work, and then, they kind of like, but I don't think they'll miss anything more for, an e-learning day than they would like if they have a sick day, or something like that. Kids miss. It's just a human thing, so I think this is the best mitigation of any learning loss and a good tool.
And I think obviously they don't, maybe for some, they don't learn as much e-learning than they do in school, but like you said, it depends on the student. But I think adding them at the end of the year, no. Like, I'm in the camp of start after Labor Day and end before Memorial Day. Or obviously beyond that, but to add, they're so checked out by the end of the year.
And from the high school, they've got graduation scheduled, they've got all their other, there's so many events, around seniors and things like that, we're talking about big scheduling problems. We have the state tournaments that are happening, and kids do miss for those and things too. So, we live in an imperfect world, and I think this is a good tool for us to have.
But we don't have an action on that, right? We're just informing us.
You can have an action, everybody can make an action item.
Well, I don't know.
You can make a motion, it's totally cool.
No, I'm just saying, do we need to do that, or are we just informing us?
No, I keep eating this up.
All right,
We all agree on it, I'll make a motion to,
motion by Wayne to approve the 5 e-learning days.
Second.
Second by Stephanie. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? There.
Perfect.
It's not so our hands, right? All right, our next item is Bramer Bank name changing to Old National Bank, which I've been hearing about from my mother now for a solid month. So who's got this one to talk about?
I can do that.
All right.
It's just a notification to the board that you'll be seeing the new name, and we just want you to be aware of it, that they're changing it. So if you see that new name, it's not part of the listed banks that we have in the past, but it's the same bank, it's just.
And my understanding is account numbers and routing numbers are going to be the same for a while yet, but there were new debit cards and things like that issued as part of this.
And each person is working on that on their own, but I just wanted you to be aware of it, in case you see that and say, how come we're doing that? Thought we had that information.
Thank you. All right, item 14, we got a lot going on this night. We have an MOU for the READ Act training. Do it again?
One of the things that we are planning to do this year is we're required to do this year by the state is all of our educational assistants, our EAs, have to go through 8 hours of training for the READ Act, just as our teachers had to go through all that training last year. And part of what we did is we used some of the beginning of the school year, a couple hours then. We're going to provide a couple hours in November with this. And Christy is providing that training again, so thank you very much, Christy, for providing that for our for our EAs and our new teachers as well. But one of the things in the EA contract states that they don't have any training on early outs for these days on November 14th. So in order to include them in this, and we wanted to have them trained using that day, we wanted to do a MOU so that everything is okay and above board and all that, so that they can come in. They will get those 2 hours of training from Christie. And then we're also adding them another 45 minutes of training along with the rest of the staff that can attend at that time to have some training with Officer Cody on standard response protocol. And that was also added in here, so they'll start at 12:45 and not 1:30. But standard response protocol is a list of, it's 5 different, we would call it standards or protocols or keywords that would be used to determine a potential emergency. And instead of just saying we're having a lockdown, we would have 5 different options for that. Training will go on for the staff. We will have an additional training for staff for those that can't meet it on that day. And then we'll also be sending, we'll also be training students, and we'll be sending information home to parents to let them know what that's about. But with those 5, you have an option, instead of just having a lockdown, you can have a setting where you can just be in the classrooms in case there's something in the hallway that we don't want kids to be around. If there's a medical emergency and there's an ambulance that has to deal with something going on in class in the hallways, or if there's something going on outside and when all students pick up in, or there's another keyword for that. So with all those,
Thinking like a cold red or something like that, that's how.
well, they're not
Or
those.
it's not.
We don't use the word code red.
Right, but like,
But
I mean,
it's-
that's what kind of those things.
It's what are they, Pete?
So we
Secure.
have lockdown, obviously, in context, we all know what that is. We have a secure slide would be maintaining, keeping kids inside of the building. So if we had something in the community going on or something at the jail across the road, we could call security, just make sure we keep kids in the building and let our community resources manage that. We have evacuate, that'd be something, maybe gas leak in the building, right? We need to evacuate the school. Shelter in place, that's the 4th one. That's where we maybe have a tornado warning or some type of serious weather. And then the other one is a hold. And what that is that would be a temporary hold to keep kids in the classroom. Like Mr. Postuma said, potentially like a medical, kids having a seizure in the hallway and it's passing time, right? We don't want kids in the hallway walking by. What this does, it gives a little bit more context and understanding for why we would use these things instead of calling everything a lockdown, right? So that's something we're working through at the district, working with our staff with.
And we would still have lockdown.
Yeah, and we do still have that, obviously, as an option as well.
But with those 5, it gives us more options to address specific situations.
Yep.
Now, this MOU with, it's just with the EAs for right now.
Correct.
And it's on 2 things, the READ Act and this new,
Standard response protocol, yes, ma'am.
right.
And for anyone
Is it all, it's not online, it's
It's in
all
person.
8 hours that will be in person?
Well, the 8 hours for the read act will all be in person.
And for anyone who's unclear, we keep saying MOU. And I say it's always kind of, for people who watch the video, memorandum of understanding, basically an agreement being added after the fact.
So you need a motion for this?
Yes, need a motion to approve the.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Second by Sharon. Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, everyone. Next is the Minnesota State High School League Foundation, discussion and action. And this is something we do every year. For anyone watching home, basically says, yeah, we're part of the Minnesota State High School League, and all of our students can compete in Minnesota State High School League events, you know, go to league sections, subsections, et cetera, et cetera. So, all the way to state, right? So that's what this is, and we just have to do it every year, right?
That's the agreement. These are Form A and Form B, it's a little bit different.
Okay,
Okay.
yes, please.
Form A is something that the State High School League offers every district. If you approve this, then the State High School League will ask that when we do this, provide some discounted rates for some of our students to be participating. And they provide some money back to our district to help pay for some of these things. And then the Form B provides the district with some funding to help with health, safety, and/or transportation. And what we've been doing with that money is providing first aid training and AED training to all of our coaches, and then also the maintenance of AEDs, the outdoor AEDs.
Great. All good stuff we let you. Any other questions about this? Take a motion.
I'll make a motion as well.
Motion by Pam, second by Wayne. Tag teaming it again, you guys. All right, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. All right, we're up to our policies now. And this is just for discussion. For anyone who's never seen policies before, so basically we are continually reviewing all the policies for the district. Most of these are basically, if they're updated, it's just to reflect new wording from the statutes. These are all basically just Minnesota State statutes. Model policies that come from Minnesota School Board Association. Basically, you go to any school in the state, they're going to have these policies more or less. So we just continually review them, make sure all the wording and everything is up to date with any new law changes. And so then we do 3 readings of these, both for any discussion from the group, and then the third one we vote to actually approve them as the policy as they stand. So this is our first reading, and this time it is policy 102, equal education opportunity, policy 503, student attendance, policy 516, student medication and telehealth, 526, hazing prohibition, 530, immunization requirements, 601, school district curriculum and instruction goals, and 614, school district testing plan and procedure. So any comments or questions about these at this time? Okay. Well, in that case, move on to our favorite part of the meeting, the budget and enrollment report.
Good evening, members of the board. Todd here to present tonight. So as of the start of the month for October, we are at 1,876 students. So these are our seat counts. It looks like, I can't see what that first count is, 1,887 if that was the start of August or September probably. So we have lost a few kids since the start of school. And we have roughly 32 students enrolled in PSEO, which will, it's possible that we will still generate ADM on a fraction of those kids depending on the arrangement. And then ALC students losing 16 to the ALC. And I think that's everything. Any questions on the enrollment report?
Doesn't sound like it, Todd.
Pardon me?
It doesn't look like we have any questions. I think you can keep going with your next item.
Okay. All right, so this is good news on the FY25 financial results. We are not final yet, but As of October 14th, revenues are exceeding expenditures by 111,000. So the way this translates into our fund balance, we had projected a decline in our unassigned fund balance of a little over 400,000 for FY25. As of right now, our unassigned fund balance is decreasing about 114,000. I do believe, though, we have some restricted fund balances such as the ALC and English learner and some other things. So by moving some expenses to those restricted fund balances, we should be able to keep the unassigned fund balance flat or even increasing slightly. So that's wonderful news. All of the other funds, revenues exceeded expenditures, except for the Community Services Fund, in which there's a loss there of about 59,000. Expenditures are exceeding revenues by about 59,000. Any questions on the preliminary financial results for FY25?
Can you tell me the percentage of our fund balance?
Todd, there was a question from Sharon about the percentage of the fund balance.
So essentially, like I said, it's going to remain unchanged. So I would have to do just some real quick math on that. Let me see if I have the file open. Yes, I do. Could you scroll up for me, please, just a little bit?
More?
There we go. So we would end at a 10.28% fund balance if we remain completely flat. I think we're going to end up going up just slightly, so probably just a little bit better than that. And at the end of FY24, we were at a 10.24% fund balance. So
Okay,
so the percentage will be pretty much unchanged as well, going up slightly. Any other questions, comments?
Thank you.
So what is our goal supposed to be for our fund balance?
Well-
12? Okay, so how do we need to, what do we need to do to get back to that, or what happened that we're that much? I know Danny wasn't here when it was at that, but what do we need to do to get back to where we're supposed to be in that situation?
There's a few different ways it can happen with school financing. Todd, are you hearing me? Can you hear me at all?
I can barely hear you.
No. How about now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah?
I put on my microphone, I thought that might help. So you can either get more students, which will generate more money. You can spend less money, or the state can give us more money, which they're projected to give us probably 2% next year, maybe a little more. And you can also go up for a referendum to gain more funding through a voter-approved operating referendum. Or grants, if you could find a grant of some sort. But those are far and few between, but also they're just not, you can't really count on them for a lot of great things. You know. They're mostly in education grants, they're for starting something new and spending more money.
Thanks for clarifying that.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions about this?
That's kind of a slippery slope, you know, the fund balance makes me a little nervous.
This might be something that we need to talk about more at a workshop, so that we can maybe come up with ideas or talk about something with ideas in regards to what we can do.
You know, the fact that it really won't change from last year to this year, you know, we made 2 years is a pretty big cuts. we've slowed the bleeding nicely, I guess. You know, for a while we were like in free fall, so the fact that we're not going down anymore, it's a step in the right direction, but it's not the journey. So I want people to remember that.
But enrollment is going down, so that means less money coming in.
So, you know, we were very fortunate this year. If you look at our projected enrollment back last spring, right, we projected an enrollment for the whole area, or for our district, excuse me, 1,836, right? And when we actually, where we're at today is 1,876. So we are, you know, 40 more students, that's a big deal for a school our size. You know, that's why we're fortunate enough to keep our class sizes small by having enough students to add sections for a few grades, things like that. So we were fortunate this year, but we're hanging on by the skin of our teeth in a lot of ways. I want people to always, we appreciate the good, but we also still have work to do.
But I don't think we can walk around with blinders on because we have no contract set yet.
Yep. We've got ways to go, that's what I'm saying. So be appreciative of our good news of, you know, hey, our enrollment is higher than we thought it would be and what we budgeted on. Our fund balance didn't go in the wrong direction this year, but we didn't go in the right direction, right? So we have to take the good with bad, take the both, there you have the facts of life, I guess. All right. Anything else for us, Todd? Todd, do you have more for us?
Just a quick update on FY '26 through August. So this will be quick. So revenues of $240,000 through August 31. The revenues for the year to date are looking really small because we have a large reversal of over $2 million from the June 30 state aid receivable. So that reversed out right away in July, so that's why revenues are looking so low. Otherwise, federal revenues at $88,000 are comparable to last year at $73,000. Property tax revenues, we must have had a small county payment come in, and then local revenues at $20,040. Expenditures are tracking comparable to the prior year at 2.4% of budget. Last year we were at 2.7%. Benefits were at 4.9% of budget. Last year we were at 4.3%. And overall we're at 8% of budget. Last year at this time we were at 8% of final. So all is looking good on the year-to-date budget as well.
Any questions?
Thank you, Todd.
Thank you very much, Todd.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thanks, Doug.
Okay. We are going to move on to administrator information reports and see if anyone has anything yet. I'm going to go to Mr. Jacobs last because I have learned show and tell. It's a hard act to follow. So we'll start this weekend at the principal's table.
Well, I'll go first. One thing that wasn't on the donation list, that should be on next month's donation list, is if you're driven by the high school, especially at night, there's a new sign in front of the high school that really pops. The old one was, I don't know if it was rust stained or what it was, but you can barely see it. The Lions Club generously donated again for the sign, and like I said, that donation amount will be in next month's. Corey Gross did a lot of the legwork, finding the company, and actually going to the Lions Club and asking for a donation. Lazowski was a big part of that, part of the Lions group. So when you leave here tonight and you drive by that sign, it really sticks out compared to what the old sign did. So that's my one addition.
Yeah, the sign looks awesome. That's awesome. Mr. Kluger.
No additions to my report.
Mr. Whitmer.
I just want to give a couple of shout outs. I know we're kind of moving into fall here with some of our fall intermediate sports and also our high school sports wrapping up, but I just wanted to say thank you to all our coaches for their time and dedication to our kids. Additionally, I also want to just give another thank you to all of our students, families, and then staff that made our homecoming so fantastic for all of our students as well. So I know I have it in my board report, but just want to say thank you to all the people involved in all of that.
Mr. Postemus, anything to add?
You're still on my thing. I will say we had just a fantastic Pep Fest today to usher the girls off to state for their tennis tournament, state tournament. Congratulations to coaches and the players and parents and everybody involved. And good luck to all our sports as they continue down the path towards tournament time for all that. Had some very positive things going on this fall, and just very excited to be part of it, so thank you.
Well, Mr. Jacobs,
All right.
show and tell time.
So, what did I do last month around here? So, I went to my annual facility managers. It happens down in St. Cloud, luckily. A lot of guys are coming in from International Falls and all the way down towards Iowa. Luckily, I only have to go an hour. What do I learn in those 38 classes? Well, I try to tell the kids, if you think homework goes away when you're in facilities management, it doesn't. I had to go to classes such as new indoor air quality updates and laws. I went to eyewash stations, inspections, compliance, and consequences. Glycol filtration, HVAC, closed loop management. I don't go to the custodial performance expectations. I've been around the block long enough for that kind of stuff. But a lot of laws is what I'm learning about, new updates and things. So, went to that. The other thing was we started the boilers up, tried to figure out where all the, don't let site logic fool you, I'm a big part of their work around here. They can tell me, they told me them, that's stuff I have to deal with. Example, with all the boiler, not the boiler, but the new pumps and piping, you get a lot of air in the system. They tried to pump it all out. It didn't all come out because we found out when we started the boiler on Friday, there's water columns and we have 2 lines. Don't go above this line, don't go below this line. That thing shot up and we started pumping the water through, had to let the air out, bleed the air, do all the systems. So a lot of things that they do have consequences for my end. Not bad, just it's expected. So then a couple things I wanted you guys to know is, you hear a lot about long-term facilities maintenance and you are like, all right, what do we use those dollars for? And you hear about the big things like the EPA system and the track and things like that. There's a lot of little things that fall. There's 10 codes that I deal with personally that LTFM fall under, and it's for deferred maintenance. So example, we couldn't figure out why that door down the high school football locker door would not open. We troubleshooted to see if it was where you swipe the fob. Nope, that's not it. Went in the socket to find out if the socket was saying something. Nope, that's not it. We start following the wires. Well, lo and behold, in the bar, going to the striker, are these wires. Well, apparently they weren't attached. But that took like 6 hours to figure out why that had happened. So if you're like, welcome to my world. Electrical never was my big thing. But here's another piece for long-term facility. Our high school now, it's our high school. The high school is filled with these panic bars, which are no longer made. They're no longer supported. There are no parts for these anymore. Your whole high school has these. If you look at those panic doors, those are Von Duprints, which are really good. These are not Von Duprints, and are not really good. What happens is, and this is happening in the high school boys locker room. You can see how, that's probably not really good, right? Well, all these parts fall apart, and they're no longer replaceable. And neither is the panic hardware that goes with this. This pair costs $1,000. Without installation, just the pairs of $1,000. So, if you're wondering how much do things cost around school, figure you got about 60 of these in high school. They're not all gonna break at once, but I think we did the whole front entrance before I arrived. It's my understanding from Darwin was, there was like 6 or 7 of these that are replaced all the way across. You start to add that up. If anybody in public land wants to know where money goes to, these are not cheap. The other thing was, you can see this bar, we had it actually machined at a local place. Well, what is this little bar? Well, have you ever seen the bleachers pulled out? That's snap off. So that bar runs and goes together, and you can see how it snaps it off. So we had to have one custom made, because again, these were all made 30 years ago. These are not product available. So some really good machinists out there, that's one of the things my job is to try to find a way to get things fixed without spending a bunch of money on a 30-year-old vehicle when, you know what I mean? So if you're wondering some of the things we were dealing with this week other than our own boiler startup. But these are all fall under that LTFM budget. Any questions?
Educational as always.
Well, I was gonna say out back, I don't know, a lot of you drive around the farms, you see the big white totes. So a lot of dairy farms, they have those 250-gallon totes. Okay, we have 15 of those back there, filled with 40% glycol. Glycol, or polypropylene, because it's food safe. That's gonna go in that chiller, right? So when I go to some of these classes, we talk about maintenance. We do a $13 million project, right, for IAQ. One of the things that needs to be made sure of, okay, that's $40,000 in glycol back there. There's 15 of those totes back there that have to get filled. Okay, that glycol wears out. You have to maintain 33% or you're gonna freeze your pipes. Well, that requires testing to make sure it doesn't get oxygen in it, because if you get oxygen in your system, you will rot that away. It was funny to hear a story. They found one school that had a construction project. They filled their glycol with splash antifreeze to get away with not spending a lot of money. So there's things we hear, but if you're, that's just kind of what we do. So, okay.
For any kids that ever see this, I want to point out all the stuff you talked about today: engineering, machining, physics, and chemistry. And that's in a 5-minute report. That's a lot of stuff you have to know.
Yeah, there's a lot. So.
All right, thank you very much. I always enjoy that in the presentations. All right, well then we'll go to meeting events and notices. We have on the 29th, the Leah Banquet at St. Cloud Riverside Convention Center at 4:30. On the 18th of November, we'll be back here for our next regular board meeting at 5:30. And once again, we have our open forum. And again, please remember the rules and stuff we talked about. But if anyone has anything they'd like to say now, please. Don't be shy. All right. We'll go to committee reports. Any committees meet lately? No, I don't think so.
The
Next
Booster
to like
Club has
Booster?
been meeting monthly
Yep.
right now due to planning, lots of new things, so we are working on a April gala, so that will be coming up, information will be coming out on that, to help support our athletics and fine arts. We have another meeting, we've brought in, coaches and, other representatives from the, activity or the athletic booster clubs, to just talk more about what we do, or what our plans are to help out. So our next meeting will be the first Wednesday of the month, the 5th.
Remember, the 5th of November. All right.
Pam, maybe you want to share the date of the gala.
It's April, I don't know, is it Tuesday? We can do it next time too.
No, I got you.
2026.
Saturday, April 11th.
Okay. Well, it'll be on Monday. So April 11th. No, it's on a Saturday.
All right.
More information to come.
Awesome, awesome. Well, then we'll do our board member comments. We'll start start Sharon and work our way around. Sharon.
Since our last meeting, I've had the opportunity to celebrate academic achievement with the National Honor Society. 33 students were inducted, and I think it was very good for all of us to have Mr. Rudolph visit us today, another chance to celebrate academic excellence. You can see where the student and the staff and the community work together to bring success to this young man and his determination to do it. And all I have to say is go Falcons. It's going to be an exciting week, I think.
Alyssa.
As a Foley tennis alumni, my tennis heart is very excited and happy for our tennis team. So I want to congratulate those girls because they worked hard, and it's been a little while since we've been able to participate in the state tournament, so they have definitely made you proud. So hopefully they do well. I'll be rooting them on.
Stephanie.
I also have to agree, or echo her tennis team, congratulations, it's super exciting. And Paul Jacobs, I look forward to your presentation every month because you are probably the most exciting part of our board meeting. Forward, we have you, so thank you for that.
Sure. Pam.
She's expecting higher expectations from you guys. So I don't know if you want to bring some extra books next time or something that you guys could share with us. I don't know. The state, again, they give up to the state. It's exciting. I've seen them practice from my house. Even this weekend they were practicing, which was exciting to see. And it wasn't just exciting to see them, it was exciting to hear the enthusiasm from them. And granted, I can hear it from my house, so it was fun to hear we're gonna do good, at the end, they were all getting together and we were in our car, and my son's roll down the window so we can hear what they're gonna say, and it was fun to see that, so, I'm proud of them, that's great.
Wayne.
I have no comment.
All right. Well, I've got two things to say that will happen before we meet again. And the first is next weekend, on Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday, you have a wonderful opportunity to get your shapoopy on with 76 trombones and go see the Music Man by the Foley School. Our yearly musical, Janelle Hesh leading the directing team there. It's got students from 7th grade through 12th, so it's always a good time. That is the fall musical is always probably one of our most popular shows, so get early so you get a good seat. That's very exciting though for them. They've been working hard since the first day of school. Awesome, awesome. Large cast, by the way, large cast. And then the second thing, we will have juniors and seniors from our band participating with the St. Cloud Municipal Band at their Paramount concert again this fall. I'm part of the municipal band, so, but we have every fall our ambassadors program where it's kind of like an honor band, but basically band directors nominate students to come play with us at the Paramount. So they will be at our Paramount concert, and I'm gonna make sure I double check that date here so I don't screw it up. I can do that. That will be on the 10th of November at the Paramount. So get your tickets, come see the students. It's so cool. They're going to be playing with us the whole concert, so it's not like they just, there's going to be students from here, Malacca, all the St. Cloud schools, everybody. So it's a really cool opportunity. They're going to be playing with musicians, who've been playing for, 50, 60 years, as well as people who've been in municipal band, for a year or two. But it's just a huge, much different group. Some professional musicians are in the group, and some less professional musicians are also in the group. And then our students get to come and see that music isn't something that just goes away when they graduate. They can do it their whole lives. So I invite everyone to those two big events for our students. And with that,
Motion.
Motion
I'll
by
second.
Pam, second by Jared. All in favor? Aye.